Hi everyone, welcome to the Jade and Stitches Show. Earlier this week on a Monday live crochet workshop, we made a butterfly applique. This little guy, actually. It's a small little scrap project, it's not very difficult, and today we're going to show you how to make this pattern, but with a slight difference. That's what it looks like with a solid color, and that's the back, in case you're wondering. So it looks pretty nice on both sides. This is what it looks like if you want to use variegated yarn. So also really cute, very simple. It's all the same pattern, the same stitch count, the same stitches. But today I'm going to show you the pattern, but changing color for the wings. I think this looks really neat in a two-tone wing color. So you need a color A and a color B for the wings, and it's a really simple color change. So there's no carrying of yarn. You just drop one color when you don't need it and pick up the other one. The only real trick is remembering when to change color. That's what the back looks like, in case you're wondering. And that's all there is to it. It is the same amount of yarn. You just split it in half, color A, color B for the wings, about 6 yards each, and the same amount of yarn for the main body as well. So it's not a long project. It's not difficult. It's the same pattern that we did on Monday, and we've linked that live crochet along workshop in the description down below. So if you want to see the stitch by stitch using a solid color, that is there for you as well. So let's grab our hooks, grab our yarn, we'll head on over to the craft table, and we will stitch up a two-toned wing butterfly applique together. For today's butterfly applique, I'm using a size 4 medium weight acrylic yarn from my stash. I'm also using a 4mm hook. This is also known as a G or a 6. If you want smaller butterflies, you can use a smaller weight category, even crochet thread, and a much smaller hook. If you want larger butterflies, you can upsize your weight category of yarn and use a larger hook. And since our personal tension differs, I'll leave that to you to sort of figure out which hook works best with which yarn. This is a small little scrap project, so don't sweat the gauge. For a regular butterfly, you need about 12 yards each of the outline and body color and of the wing color. Now today I'm going to be demonstrating the two-tone wing version of this butterfly. So you need about 6 yards of color A and 6 yards of color B for the wings. Of course, nice options are also variegated yarn and even some self-striping yarn if the stripes are very short. And once you've got all that together, we can get started. We're going to begin with the body, so you want your body color. I'm using blue for that. You're going to start with a slip knot on your hook, and we're all going to chain 16 to begin. Once you have 16 chains, you're going to skip the first chain from the hook and single crochet into the second chain. Then you're going to single crochet into each of the next 3 chains. You'll have 4 single crochet to begin the row. That's 4 single crochet so far. Half double crochet into the next chain. And now you're going to double crochet into each of the next 5 chains. So this is the middle of the body. And it's the plump part. And now we're going to do the same thing on the way out that we did on the way in to that middle part, but in reverse. Half double crochet into the next chain, and then into the remaining 4 chains you're going to single crochet into each of them. This will be a total of 15 stitches at the end of the body. And then you are not fastening off, you're just going to pull up on that loop and you're going to set it down. We're going to build our wings directly onto the body. The wing is built directly onto the body. I've just got sort of a little option here to show you what it's going to look like when 2 colors are engaged. The whole thing is built in one piece, but But in order to get this two-tone wing effect, we're going to just use one color, or color A, for half of each row, and color B for the other half of each row. Now this is an odd number, so the bottom wing will have one extra stitch in it than the top part of the wing. And it will look like this when it's attached to the body. Don't worry about your little edge here in the middle where we change colors if it's not super neat and tidy, because we will be crocheting over top of it when we do our edging. Our wing is built directly onto the body of our butterfly. So we're going to join our yarn with a single crochet in the 6th stitch away from the end. So if you're working right-handed, your working loop on your body is over to the left. If you're left-handed, it's in the reverse. So find the 6th stitch. This will also be the first double crochet stitch you made. You're going to take color A and make a slip knot on your hook. Find that 6th stitch and you're going to join with a single crochet. Now row 1 of the wing is 5 single crochet. It's a single crochet in each of these 5 double crochets from the body. But because we're making a two-tone wing, we're going to only work the first 3 stitches in color A. So that's single crochet in the first 2 stitches, but because we're doing color changing, when you get to a stitch before the color change, you begin it. In this case, it's a single crochet, so I just want to pick up that loop, place it down, grab color B, make a slip knot, and you're going to finish off that stitch with color B. And don't worry if it's a little loose, you can always pause either right now or at the end of the row and just tighten up on some of these stitches. And when you change colors midway through a stitch, the correct color of the stitch sits on top, and now you're at the new color ready to make the rest of the stitches in your row. And in this case, we want a single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So row 1 is 5 single crochet long. You can tighten up gently on your other colors. The first 3 are in color A. Halfway through the 3rd stitch, we switch to color B, and the last 2 stitches are in color B. That is row 1 of the wing. Row 2 of the wing, with color B, we chain 3. The chain 3 at the beginning of a row counts as a double crochet, and we turn our work. Now, because you're manipulating several different balls of yarn, it's probably a good idea to just take a moment at the beginning of every row when you turn your work and just make sure that your yarn hasn't tangled. Into the same stitch that we chained 3 out of, we're going to double crochet. And into the next stitch, it's the stitch before a color change, so that signifies we need to change colors. This is going to be a half double crochet stitch. So we yarn over and pick up a loop, but before we finish that stitch, we're going to bring our yarn to the back and just sort of hold it, pick up color A, and you're going to finish that stitch with color A. Now again, if your stitch is a little bit loose, don't worry about it. If you have some funny carries of yarn up through the middle of the wing, don't worry about that either, because we will be doing some crochet over top of it. But good technique is to work over little color carries. And you see where I used my yellow or my color A to create that stitch, there's a little itty bit of a reach. Into the next stitch, we're going to single crochet. So I'm just going to grab that little reach by slipping my hook underneath it before I slip my hook through that stitch. And then I'm going to single crochet as normal. So as you can see, we changed color, but the last stitch in B has the right color on top, and then the new stitch in A has the correct color on top. That's a single crochet. The rest of the row is a half double crochet into the next stitch, and then 2 double crochet into the last stitch. And that is the stitch that you joined your A color with. So 2 double crochet into the last stitch. That's 7 stitches for row 2 of the wing. Once again, that's chain 3, double crochet in the same stitch with B, half double crochet into the next stitch. You finish that half double crochet in color A, and then it's single crochet, half double crochet, 2 double crochet in the last stitch. That's 7 stitches complete in row 2. Row 3 of the wing, or row 4 of the pattern. So row 1 is the body, row 2 is the first row of the wing, row 3 is the second row of the wing. Row 3 of the wing, or row 4 of the project, chain 3 turn. That chain 3 counts as double crochet. Because we're moving, we're going to move all of our yarn, make sure it doesn't want to tangle on us. Into the same stitch that you chained 3 out of, you're going to double crochet. That gives us 3 stitches in color A to work with. We're going to double crochet into the next stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch, and the middle stitch is a single crochet. It's always a single crochet. It's also always in color A. We're going to begin that single crochet by picking up a loop, but then we're going to drop color A, we're going to pick up color B, and finish that stitch. So that middle stitch made with color A has the right color on top. We've switched to B now, and we've got 3 stitches to deal with towards the end of the row. That also gives us an itty bitty little bit of a reach. You can leave it or you can work over top of it. The next stitch is a half double crochet, so we slip our hook through there, but because the reach is on the other side, you just want to slip your hook underneath that little reach of color and then grab it while you yarn over to pick up your loop and half double crochet. And then you've just kind of grabbed that little bit of color. That leaves us with a double crochet from the, I should say 3 stitches here. So we're going to double crochet into the next stitch, and then that leaves us with the top of the chain 3. So we're going to work 2 double crochet into the top of the chain 3. So that is 9 stitches altogether in the 3rd row of the wing. This is row 4 of the pattern. Chain 3 double crochet to begin, double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, change color, half double crochet, 2 double crochet to finish. That's 9 stitches at the end of that row. Row 4 of the wing, row 5 of the pattern, chain 3 counts as a double crochet, and turn. You want to move all of your yarn so that nothing gets tangled. And into that first stitch with color B, we are going to work a double crochet. It's the same place that you chained 3 out of. And now we have 3 stitches until we get to the color change, so we are going to work a double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. And that last stitch is going to be a half double crochet. We start the half double crochet with color B, drop B, grab A, and finish with A. There we go. That's going to give us a little bit of a reach. You can ignore it or work over top of it. The next stitch here is going to be a single crochet, so I'm just going to slip my hook underneath it before I get my hook in that stitch, and single crochet, nice and gentle. And that leaves us with 4 stitches. We are going to half double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and into the top of the chain 3 we are going to work 2 double crochet. That is the end of that row. It's the end of wing number 1. Just to recap, chain 3 double crochet in the same stitch with B, double crochet into the next 2 stitches with B, half double crochet into the next stitch, finish it with A, and then single crochet, half double crochet into the next 2 stitches, 2 double crochet into the top of the chain 3. That's 11 stitches in total. That's the end of the wing. You can now snip your yarn and fasten off. You can snip both those yarn colors for the wing. Again, don't touch your main body color. Fasten off your last yarn and take a moment to weave in all of those tails. You want to make sure that they don't want to come undone, so if you are using slippery yarn, leave longer tails. Make sure you weave them in back and forth a few times. And then once you've got all of your tails woven in, we will work on wing number 2. Once you've woven in your tails for your first wing, we are now going to work on wing number 2. Wing number 2 is the same stitch pattern, but it's done in reverse because we are changing colors. So we're going to rotate our butterfly so that now our big butterfly working loop is over on the other side, And we're looking at the opposite side of those middle 5 double crochets from row 1 of the body where we built wing number 1. We're going to build wing number 2 directly opposite it. And we're doing it in color work reverse. So here we go. We're going to begin this time with color B. Now it's the same number of stitches for color B and the same number of stitches for color A, but because we're working sort of in a mirror reflection, we've got to come at it, just a little bit differently. You're going to join color B now with a single crochet, and you can leave all of your tails out and weave them in later. And because there's only 2 single crochet in color B for that first row of the wing, we want to repeat that on the other side. So we're going to start the stitch before the color change with B, and then we are going to grab A, make a slip knot, and we're going to join A to finish off that stitch. So again, don't worry about it being a little on the loose side. You can always tighten things up at the end of the row. Let's finish off row 1 of the wing number 2 with 3 single crochet all in A. So that's 5 stitches total for the first row of the wing. And you can sort of yank on your working yarns a little bit, not too much. You don't want to make them too tight, but that will even out your stitches. So you've got 2B, 3A for row 1 of the wing number 2, or for the second row. So this is row 1 is the body, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5 is the wing. And it's the same going out the other side. Row 1 is the body, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5 is the wing. Okay, let's do rows 2, 3, and 4 of wing number 2, or rows 3, 4, and 5 of the pattern together. Let's go. We're going to chain 3, turn. Chain 3 counts as a double crochet. When you turn your work, you want to make sure you move your yarn so that nothing gets tangled. Double crochet into the same stitch with color A. And now we've got 2 stitches left. We're going to half double crochet and single crochet, but it's the stitch before the color change, so we only work half of it in A. And we're going to grab our B. Don't want to make that a mess. There we go. Picking up B and finishing that stitch with B. Now I've got a little bit of a reach there where it leapt up, so I'm going to make sure I grab that. It's a half double crochet into the next stitch, so I'm just grabbing my little reach. And then into the last stitch, 2 double crochet. So row 2 is 7 stitches. 2 double crochet, the first of which is a chain 3, half double crochet, single crochet, color change, half double crochet, 2 double crochet. Chain 3 turn. When you turn your work, move your yarn so that you don't get everything all knotted up. There we go. Double crochet into the same stitch as the chain 3. Double crochet into the next stitch. Half double crochet into the next stitch, but it's the color change stitch, so we work half of it by picking up the loop. We've got 3 loops on our hook. Put down our green or our color B. Finish that stitch with color A. And now we've got single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, 2 double crochet to do. So single crochet, I'm going to grab that little reach. Single crochet with A, half double crochet into the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch, and into the top of the chain 3, 2 double crochet. So this third row of the wing is 9 stitches long. Chain 3 double crochet in B, double crochet, half double crochet, color change, single crochet, half double crochet, 2 double crochet in the top of the chain 3. One more row. We're going to chain 3, turn our work, I'm moving my yarn again, double crochet into the same place that you chained 3 from, double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, half double crochet into the next stitch, and single crochet. It's also the stitch before the color change, so we work the first part of it, drop A, pick up B, finish that stitch with B. I've got a little bit of a color reach, and it could be on the front or the back. It just depends on where you grabbed your yarn from, so don't worry about it. Half double crochet, so I'm going to grab that little reach, half double crochet with B, double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and into the top of the chain 3, 2 double crochet. So that last row of the wing is 11 stitches long. Chain 3 double crochet, double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet color change, half double crochet, 2 double crochet in the last stitch. That's wing number 2. You can fasten off. Leave tails long enough on your wing that you can weave them in. And then we will get to the edging. Once you've got the two color wings done, that's the hard part. Now all we want to do is put on the edging and do a little bit of definition, plus the antenna. So we are going to put our hook back in our big working loop of the body color, and we're going to start with antenna number 1. We're going to chain 4. We're going to skip the first chain from the hook and slip stitch back into the second, the third, and the fourth chains. We're going to turn our butterfly so that we're looking at the top of the last stitch on what was row 1, and we're going to slip stitch right into the top of that stitch too. So that's our first little antenna made. That gives us 4 stitches here along the body, and we're going to slip stitch into each of them. So not too tight, not too loose. We're slip stitching in each stitch along the body until we get up to the wings. There we go. Alright, we've arrived at the wing. The wing has 4 rows in it. There's the single crochet that began, and then there's either a chain 3 or a double crochet for the next 3 rows. So you're going to work a single crochet, 2 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and 2 single crochet up the edge of the wing. So that first little row gets a single crochet, and then each of the 3 rows that begins with either a chain 3 or a double crochet, they each get 2 single crochets worked into the edge. And I'm sort of grabbing loops. I'm not working around the whole stitch. I'm grabbing loops and working my single crochets into them. And that brings us up to the top of the chain 3. So that's 7 single crochet all together along the top edge of the wing. Now we've got the top of the chain 3 and then the rest of the stitches in what was the last row of the wing. Remember, there are 11 stitches across. That includes the top of the chain 3. So into the top of the chain 3, we're going to work a single crochet and a little wingtip, chain 2, skip the first chain from the hook, slip stitch into the second chain, and single crochet back into the top of that chain 3. So that's your little wingtip made. And now you've got 4 stitches, I should say, before you get to that little single crochet in the middle, which is actually the color change. So we're going to single crochet in each of those 4 stitches. And now the fun part. Into that little single crochet, which is the color change, we're going to slip stitch. And now we're going to surface chain all the way down the middle, right between where that color splits, between the 2 halves of the wing, and into the middle of the body. So surface chaining is easy. You're just going to sort of dip your hook between the stitches where the color changes. Not too far away, not too close. Maybe 3 or 4 surface chains. You're just slipping your hook between the stitches and grabbing the yarn on the other side, and I go right into the middle of the body, and that covers up the delineation between those 2 colors. It doesn't even look that messy on the back, but of course this is the front. And then you're just going to do exactly the same thing on the way back out. So where you've got, you see sort of the round part of the chain, you just slip your hook right back through the same place. And you're surface chaining just back out the way you came. And right back into that single crochet stitch from the last row of the wing. You just slip stitch back into it, and then you single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. And that brings you up to the last stitch. You're going to work single crochet, a little wingtip, chain 2, skip that stitch, slip stitch into the next chain, and single crochet back into the top of the same stitch. So there's your little wingtip. And then it's exactly the same thing down this side of the wing as you did over here. So you've got 3 rows that either began with a chain 3 or a double crochet. They each get 2 single crochet. And then you've got the one little row of single crochet at the very beginning. That gets 1 single crochet. So just grab a loop, work 2 single crochet per row edge for rows 2, 3, or 3, 4, and 5, I should say, or 5, 4, and 3, since we're going in reverse. Got a little bit of a tail there. Wonder where that came from. I'll weave that in later. So that's 7 single crochet down the bottom edge of the wing. You're going to slip stitch into the edge of the body. You're going to jump over top of the body and slip stitch into the bottom edge of the other wing. So we just slip stitch across the body into the bottom of the next wing, and now we want to repeat what we did over here on the other side. So 7 single crochet, worked up the edge, and you're just finding little loops to work into. I just find this looks a little neater than working around the entire stitch. So that's 7 single crochet, worked up the underside of the wing. That brings us up to the top of the chain 3, and we want to do that little wingtip thing. So into the top of that chain 3, we're going to work single crochet, chain 2, slip stitch into the second chain, and single crochet all into the same place. We're going to single crochet into the top of the next 4 stitches. And that brings us up to that itty bitty little middle single crochet. We want to slip stitch into it. Now I want to show you, I've got a reach of yarn here that I didn't quite grab when I was changing colors. So this is what you want to do if you didn't grab all your reaches. So you're going to slip stitch into that single crochet. Make sure you grab it now. So you want to push the reach to the side that it belongs on as you do your little surface chaining. And again, you can do 3, 4, doesn't matter how many surface chains you want to do, but you're trying to make your chain stitch go in between where the color changes are, and then right into, and if you want, you can grab that chain stitch edge from the other wing and just slip your hook right through the bottom of it, and I feel like this kind of just makes that line look undivided. So there's the surface chaining from the first wing. You start surface chaining down between those 2 colors. Don't worry about that little bit up there because we're going to come up the other side. But if you slip your hook down in the middle of that chain where it joined the body, then you just sort of have joined those 2 lines of surface chaining, and it just looks a little bit neater, a little more continual. And then you can turn around and surface chain all the way back out. So the same places that you put your surface chains in on the way in, you're going to do the same thing on the way out. As you get up here, you slip stitch back into the same single crochet, and then you single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches going in the other direction. Single crochet, chain 2, slip stitch into the second chain, and single crochet all into the top of the last stitch. So that's your other little wingtip. So now you've got 2 little wingtips, and then it's just 7 single crochet along the bottom edge of your butterfly wing. That brings us back to the edge of the body. So 2 for each of the first 3 rows, and then 1 in the last row, and just grab loops, whatever you can find there. And then 1 single crochet in the edge of that first wing row, and then you can slip stitch into the edge. And then you're slip stitching in each of those foundation chains all the way back out to the top of the head. And that will also be the same as your first foundation chain you made. There's your little tail that began the whole thing. And we're going to finish the butterfly by making the second antenna. So you want to chain 4, skip the first chain from the hook, slip stitch into the second, the third, and the 4th chains, and then back into that first foundation chain. If you're using this as an applique, leave a nice long tail for sewing so you can sew it down. And then you're going to take your little short tail, pull it through to the back, and weave it in underneath some of these stitches. You can trim any excess there. And then I feel like it just makes things a little bit neater if I take my sewing tail and I just pull it through to the back. I'm just going to pull it through underneath a loop at the back of the butterfly. And that just kind of pulls that little edge down, that little fasten off knot. And the last thing you want to do is lay your little applique down and start pulling out gently on the little wingtips. You can pull on its little tail and pull up on the little antenna. And that finishes off your little 2-color winged butterfly applique. Nice and neat and tidy. And when you go to sew it down, you just use that long tail that you left on the body. You can tack down the 2 little antennae. You don't have to go all the way around each, but it is nice to sort of stitch your way all the way around the entire body. If you want those wings to sort of sit freely, then you can just sort of stitch your way through the bottom of the wing, making sure that you keep your body color sewing thread sort of inside the body, and then around the body, and then up again through the wings. And that can leave the wings free if you want to do that. It depends on how you want to use your applique. Make sure you weave in any little tails or trim any little ends that might still be hanging there. And of course, even underneath the wing, it doesn't look that messy. That's a pretty neat and tidy little stitch, that surface chaining. So even if you're using sort of your butterfly so that the wings kind of show, on the underside show a little bit, it won't be messy. 2 colors. I really like it. It adds a little bit of a challenge to that applique, but it makes it really, really pretty. And of course, it makes it even more of a scrap project. You can use up even more colors in your stash. And appliques are a great little thing to have in the Make-A-Head stash. They help make an existing project a little more unique, a little more on theme maybe. And remember, if you are making an applique for an existing project, you want to match your fiber to that project. So if it's a cotton dishcloth, make your applique using the cotton. That way, when you wash it, it will all wash together nicely. But if you're just making some for the stash or just for fun, use whatever yarn you've got on hand. You can always size it up with a bigger yarn and a bigger hook, or size it down with like a crochet thread and a small steel hook. That's really cool too. And it depends on the project you want the applique for. I hope you enjoyed making the two-tone wing butterfly applique along with me today. And don't forget, we've linked our live crochet workshop on the same pattern, just using a solid color, in the description box down below. So if you missed that or you want to see what it looks like just made all together in one color, it's a lot more of a slow process, then feel free to check out that live workshop. Have a wonderful week. Stay safe, stay crafty, and we will see you guys soon. Bye!
Hi everybody! Mr. InStitches here. Thank you for watching today. Here are some of our other videos you might be interested in. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.